She already has it, you know. Hi. It's all maximizing read time.
Did you do your strides on the back?
Yeah, it's just more.
No, it is. It does look interesting.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, Carl's like, 20 strides, I'm like 1600. Like, okay, that one's like 200. Your distance is she's here.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It is 5:47. Folks still trickling in, feel free to sign in when we do our opening items. Welcome to our regular board meeting of August 10th, 2026. We'll start with roll call.
Amy Riddle Swanson,
Here.
Abe Smith,
Here.
Dominique Stewart,
Here.
Rachel Henderson,
Here.
Dale Dalkey.
Here.
Emily Hines.
Here.
Michelle Dupree,
Here.
Angela Wolf,
Here.
Jay Ingor.
Here.
We have a quorum. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At our mission statement, the school district of the Menominee area, by embracing the unique needs and using the strengths of our diverse community, is dedicated to preparing all students to become lifelong learners, caring individuals, and responsible citizens. Do we have any proposed changes to the agenda order tonight? All right, seeing none, let's jump into recommendations and commendations. Our esteemed board member Dale Dalkey is going to present these. Take the floor, Dale.
Well, I feel privileged to be able to do this evening. And I'd like to start by having Lauren McCullough come forward. So, this is quite an honor to present this. Lauren is state champion and state record holder in the 1600 meter dash, or 1600 meter run. And I don't know if any of us can really understand what a monumental achievement that is. And then she went on to also be state champion in the 800 meter run. And in addition to that, we've got conference Big River champion in the 1600 meters and in the 100 meters also, which is now part of this certificate, and also a part of the relay team, which we're going to honor next. So, thank you. So, with Addison and Bree and Lauren come forward, please, and coaches too, Coach Topper and Coach Olson. So, in addition to Lauren's accomplishments, these four ladies were a member of the 4x100 meter relay team at the state meet, and they were state champions. And as a result, they are going to be awarded the certificate. And that is just taken from someone who's coached track for 42 years. That's a monumental achievement at the state of Wisconsin. And these two coaches serve a lot of credit. They've established a tremendous track and field team and upcoming cross country team as well. Looking forward to that. So, congratulations. Lauren and Hudson, congratulations. Parker. And last but not least, Coach Olson.
Yeah, did you want, why don't you guys all get together? Got it, thank you.
Good job. Well done.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you for being here, everybody. Congratulations to our amazing athletes. All right, next we have community communications. I haven't received any requests to speak. So we will move on to revenue and expenditure reports for the month ended July 2026.
Yeah, so again, starting with the revenue report, because this is the first month of the fiscal year, there's very little revenue or activity to report, as you can see. So at this point, the report is really just the beginning of the year baseline rather than showing any kind of trends or anything. Looking at the expense by object, again, overall spending very low, which is what we would expect after just 1 month of activity. One item that does show up early is the insurance. And there might be additional insurance invoices that have not been posted, reason being, one, we had a Skyward outage for an extended period of time, and then last week we had the audit. So there might be some more insurance invoices that will show up in the next August report. And then finally, looking at expenses by function, again, not too many conclusions to draw from the July percentages. Most of the activity is from annual costs or encumbrances, so little or no activity yet in most of the accounts. So overall, July is a very quiet month financially, but the reports establish, again, just the starting point for the year.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on the revenue and expenditure reports? All right, thank you. you very much. Moving on, we have our monthly employment report for July 2026. This is an informational report. Any questions or discussion on the monthly employment report? I actually was curious if you could just give us an outline of what customized employment means in that new hire.
Sure. So the employment is actually customized to the individual's skills, and so may not follow our typical compensation model. So the employment itself is customized along with the compensation. Is that enough?
That's enough for me. They wouldn't have any follow-up questions. I just hadn't seen that show up on an employment report before, so I'm just curious.
We have one other in the district that falls under the same umbrella.
Believe it.
It has been a real success, part of our Grow Your Own program through transition, with our high school programming, so we're very happy to be able to, have students transition into some employment.
Wonderful.
So now we're a couple weeks out, but, so how are things looking in terms of paras and, the substitute pool and all the standard questions we went on at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We'll get there. We absolutely will get there. Had an unexpected resignation that you'll see tonight, and so Tonya and I are working to be creative and continuing to post for that and hope that we can potentially fill it the traditional way, and if not, then we're thinking outside the box as well for that position. And interviewing right now for all of our other hourly positions, including the paras, and so I think we're hopeful that we'll be able to fill those positions before we start. We've been in a position before where maybe not all of them have been completely filled, and so we just continue to work through that as the year starts, and we will get there.
And we'll cover a little bit more of that in the back to school plans in the discussion of this.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on the monthly employment report? Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Abe, second by Dominique. Tonight we have approval of the minutes of our regular board meeting of July 13th, 2026, and our special board meeting of July 27th. Financial reports, we have general fund checks totaling $3,084,380.77, and cash receipts totaling $127,935.29. Under donations exceeding $1,000, in July 2026, we had $2,500 in grants from State Farm, including $500 at Oak Lawn Elementary, secured by Lindsay Horvatin, another $500 at Oak Lawn, secured by Jill Rockwell, $500 at Knapp, secured by Brad Snyder, and, I'm sorry, that's all under there. Okay, and, I'm sorry, $500 at Menominee Middle School, secured by Linda Hurd and Natasha Beatty to purchase multilingual and multicultural books, and at Menominee High School, $500 secured by Kim Navarro for library seating. So congratulations and great work to all of those staff going after those grants. And that is the consent agenda. Any questions or discussion? All right, let's vote. The motion passes unanimously. Next, we have our personnel consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the personnel consent agenda. So moved.
Amy second.
Motion by Michelle, second by Amy. We have 2 resignations and a transfer on the agenda tonight. Any questions or discussion here, or did you want to say something like that?
Yeah, I would just like to point out that Mrs. Baird, previously formerly Mrs. Momsen, a lot of people know her by, she's been in our district for over 20 years and served as a teacher, an English teacher, as an assistant principal and as a principal. And she has taken a position back to her hometown. We're really happy for her. It's a good opportunity. It is a big change for us though, so we wish her well. But we're also excited, Mrs. Lee, Stacy Lee, she had been at Downsville last year. She spent the majority of her year at the middle school. She is going to move into that position at the high school. So we feel like we have a very good solution with very talented people, but it is going to be a bit of a change. But we are looking forward to that. So that's kind of the big news.
Any questions or discussion on the personnel consent agenda? All right, then let's vote. And motion passes unanimously. All right, on to our action agenda. First, we have approval of the revisions to policy 830, exhibit 2 on the use of screen. Is there anything anyone wants to say about that? Any questions or discussion? All right, then let's vote. Did I ask for a motion? Ha, all right. I'll entertain a motion to approve revisions to policy 830.
Heinz moves.
Second.
All right. Motion Hamlin, second by Jay. And now, any discussion or questions? I haven't done that in a really long time, I just want to say.
And again, it was just an update to the dollar figures to keep the policy current. There was no major changes to the rest of the policy.
All right, then let's vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have the action to approve revisions to the SDMA employee handbook. Now, I will entertain a motion. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Andy, second by Abe. Any questions or discussion? As a reminder, we had a number of changes that were related to policy updates and legal requirements that we reviewed last time. And I assume there's nothing that was changed from then. Great. If there's no questions or discussion, let's vote. And motion passes unanimously. Finally, we have an action to approve the transfer of Pleasantdale Schoolhouse property to the village of Knapp. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dale, second by Jay. Is there anything that either of you want to say about this? It's pretty much substantially what we looked at a couple weeks ago.
I would just like to point out, and Dale, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the Knapp Village Board will be meeting at a time after this. And depending on what the board does, they then may take action. I did confirm with legal counsel that all that's required for our part of this is a simple majority of the board. I would like to reserve the fact that once action's taken by both sides, there may be some legal documents that might need to come back to complete the transfer, but I think it's appropriate for the board to take action tonight to make a clear determination of the school district's intention.
So that makes sense, and to everybody, what we'd be approving tonight is an agreement to transfer that school if the village votes to do so. All right. Any questions or discussion? All right, let's vote. And motion passes unanimously.
Then Rachel, will you be contacting the village board Knapp to tell them of our decision?
I'll be taking care of that, yeah, and certainly if you wanna help, then you're welcome to. We can touch base after the meeting.
If you want any communication to come from me, I'm happy to do that as well. Okay, at this point, it doesn't matter who lets them know. Right, then we're on to our discussion agenda. First, we have our annual student services report.
So I'll just kind of go over each section in the report, at the end, or if you have questions, you feel free to just jump in. The first section is, in regards to special education. I kind of go over, our disability categories, staffing. I do want to point out, for staffing this year, we have listed one sign language interpreter that is different from previous years. That person previously fell under a paraeducator, but because of their degree and receiving an official license, we moved them, they're in their own kind of category now. So we have one sign language interpreter for the district servicing students at the high school right now for this year. And then I kind of go over our numbers, looking over specific disability categories. We're sitting at 17.5%, which is kind of consistent through the last couple of years. Parentally placed private school students, as you know, we provide equitable services to students that would qualify with an IEP at our private schools. Equitable services is a little different. They receive, based on a consultation I have with our private schools, this year they will receive, if students are eligible to receive speech and language services, or are deaf, hard of hearing. So what our speech and language therapists will spend one day a week traveling to our private schools providing those services. If students are at private schools but eligible for ELR services, if they would attend a public school, they are then not eligible because they attend a private school. So they are only eligible to receive what is considered equitable services, and it's all based on a dollar amount. There's a figure that we do, and I list the dollar amount that we are required to fund through equitable services this coming school year. And then I kind of go over our special needs scholarship program, because I know sometimes people have questions about that, and I go over the amount students need to meet certain requirements in order to participate in that program, and then our private schools receive a certain amount of funding based on that application. Similar to special education, but slightly different, we have students that qualify for a 504 plan. Those are considered, some people would call them regular education plans. They're not, students are not eligible to receive special ed services, but may need accommodations or services or supports outside of special education in regular education. And we have 96 students currently on a 504 plan. And so those are managed by our school counselors in our building. Our ELL students, so that's, and so I kind of go over our staffing. And then, we always strive to provide services also in their home language. So we look for, we have a couple of Hmong paraeducators and Spanish paraeducators to help support those students and the teachers working with them. Health services, so we have one district nurse and 5 student health assistants. I list how many health office visits, quite a few office visits or health room office visits per school year. As you can see, those staff are quite busy and are utilized frequently. A great program that we also offer is that Bridging Brighter Smiles. And so that is a program where kids can receive no cost or low cost dental care in our school buildings. So they wouldn't necessarily have to leave. They set up office, do screenings, do sealants, and help those families navigate that system. If they're needing more than what they can provide, then they also help that family navigate and make a referral to a dentist outside of school. And then so it kind of gives you some data of how many students that they saw this school year as compared to in previous school years, and then how much they list as their donation to schools, donations to those students via the dental care program. So that's basically my report. Any questions?
I had a question about the ELL program. When I look at the staffing, it really looks like the staff at the high school with one FTE teacher and a half, 0.5 para for 41 students is obviously like a much bigger load than most of the other ELL teachers are looking at. And I'm curious if, I guess, are a lot of those students needing less services by the time they get to high school, or how does that sort of square?
Yeah, I would say that as kids get older, as you know, they become a little bit more independent. And so also the model up there, based on that, so that teacher does teach like an ELL English type class. So it is I wouldn't say a large group, but it's probably a larger group than you would see a group at our elementary schools. And so their focus is really language based, based on, kind of that language acquisition. And I would say we test, so each student does the access test each year. They get a score, and as you know, as kids, we can see those scores increase as they get older, meaning they're needing less direct services and needing more just support services, so.
And so that 41 students represents like the kind of total range in the terms of like some of them might need quite a bit of support and some of them might need.
Very little support.
And does it seem as if that staffing is meeting the needs of those students?
When I meet with them at the high school, they do not seem concerned about that, they feel that that is manageable.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions or discussion on any element of the student services report? Go ahead.
Tony, I have one more question about the same topic. I'm curious to know what the full-time teacher in the high school that teaches the course is certified. What's the certification area?
It is ELL, so they have a certification, and that teacher also has, I think, a different certification, but I don't know, I would have to look that up. But there is an ELL teaching license.
Thanks.
Yep.
Additional questions or discussion? All right. That's easy. Moving on, we will hear from Tonya on the annual seclusion and restraint report.
So this is our required annual seclusion and restraint report. The first page just kind of goes over the statute, and then the definitions of physical restraint and seclusion. As always, we always talk with our staff that use of seclusion and restraint is a last resort measure. It really is for the safety of that student or the safety of others that are around that student. And it is done as minimal as possible. Many times when we get reports of restraints, they have to actually give me the time that the student was restrained, and many times that is given in seconds, not in minutes. So they might be restrained just enough to get other students out of the way, and then their hands off again. So it's just to keep, it's a last resort and to keep students safe. As you can see, our numbers are pretty consistent from last year to this year, so that's good. You always want to see those numbers go down, but not go up. So one of the things I'm very happy about is we actually have 2 trainers, actually now 3 trainers on staff to train in nonviolent crisis intervention. So we have our own trainers, which is, what is nice about that is if there's ever a situation, a unique situation, we can pull them in to do more kind of targeted training with staff. Otherwise, if we did have those trainers, we'd be sending staff like up to CSA or different types of training, and that is less tailored to maybe meet our needs, so which is really nice. And then we had a staff trained in it's not a new program, it's a new program around here. They have been doing this for a number of years, and it's catching on more around this area. I will say it wrong.
I was also gonna say it wrong.
I think it's Euchre, but it's not Euchre. So it is a restraint-free training, and they use pads instead of using restraints. So it is designed as a kind of a trauma-based training. So We are looking at targeting, because the trainer is a teacher at Wakanda, we're looking at kind of folding this out at Wakanda to see how this works. And then if we're having some success, it will, we'll be training teachers in other buildings. The added cost would be you have to buy all of those pads. And all of those, the pads are not cheap. However, I believe the training and the use of them is a really great strategy, especially when you don't have to necessarily put hands on a child, and you can use a pad to prevent some of that physicalness that a child is giving, like towards an adult or towards a student, and you're not having to put hands on the child. So we're gonna see how this goes, and hopefully we'll find some success with that. So I'm pretty excited about this new training, so.
I was gonna ask about it, and also I was gonna pronounce it wrong, so.
Yeah.
So once that is, so if that became something that was in place across the district.
Yep.
That would presumably result in our restraint incidences going down.
That would be the hope, yes.
Yes, which is good for everybody, yep. But it would also mean that, like, I guess I'm curious if you would then have a way of tracking how often that Ukaru pad-based
Yes.
thing happens.
Yes, we would want to track that.
Okay.
We do track all of our uses of seclusion and restraint, but when you're using the pad, it wouldn't be considered a restraint, but I would still want to know and track. And that's why I think we're utilizing it at Wakanda first, so we can kind of see how this is going to work. We know, we will understand it a little better, understand how staff really need to be trained, and then rolling it out further, so.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Go ahead.
Do you know of any local districts using that already?
Well, I know like Cholita down in La Crosse utilizes that. That is a specialized program for students with pretty significant needs. And they are using it. They're actually creating their own program and hopefully making their own pads. Hopefully cheaper than this company is making, because we might go through Cholita then. But yes, talking to other directors around this area are starting to pick it up. When we first looked at it, the trainings were all like far away, like down in Florida or even Chicago, and there weren't any here. And so we finally, we started to see some of the trainings, the trainers pop up around here. So a staff member did a training in Rochester. She's from Rochester, so she's like, this is perfect, I'll stay with my parents and get to participate in the training. So that's why we're starting to see, when it first came up, all the trainings were pretty significantly far away, so.
Is there research or evidence to support this? It looks like it was started in 2004. Is there efficacy or how?
I mean, I would have to look that up. I don't wanna speak about that right now, so.
Yeah, it'd be great to see that.
I'm curious about I think it's wonderful that we have so many trainers right on staff, for all the reasons you described. Is there a like compensation or incentive that's offered to those, staff? Yeah.
Yep, they get an additional compensation for their trainings. Yep.
In the first page of the report, to summarize the law requires parents to provide a copy of the written research report, and that's like the legal requirement. I'm curious, when there's seclusion or restraint, like how are parents engaged in that, later that day, that evening? Is there communication, and how does that communication happen to counselors and others?
Yes. It kind of sometimes depends. The majority of our students are students with IEPs, so it's typically the case manager. After the second use of a seclusion and or restraint, they are required to hold a meeting, a face-to-face meeting. So they would hold an IEP meeting, discuss positive behavioral supports, discuss how can we reduce this, are there things that we can do to reduce this? So there is a meeting after the second use of seclusion and or restraint.
I suppose this is all across the board, but I'm curious how do parents often, how engaged are parents typically in that discussion of, behavioral interventions along the way?
In my experience, I think it's a positive. I don't think, teachers don't want to do this. I don't think parents want to do this, but I think we're talking about safety. And so when we talk about all the things we did prior to trying to make this not happen, and most parents are pretty like, we got to that point, especially when we talk about, when we would do a restraint, we're talking seconds. We're not talking about holding a child for long periods of time. Sometimes I get reports it was like 12 seconds. It's a very short period of time, so I think, especially those positive, anytime I talk to my special ed staff, at any time that you think that you might be using those, that should be a topic of conversation at an IEP meeting. What does this look like? How would we use it? Why would we use it? So parents have that kind of understanding.
Thanks.
Yep.
Just to follow up on Abe, you said the second time there's a face-to-face meeting with
Yes.
the parents. What, are they notified though if there's a first one?
Yes,
Okay.
parents get a copy of a written report,
Okay,
and they are contacted, and they get a copy of a written report.
all right, thank you.
Additional questions or discussion on the seclusion and restraint report? I know this is a very tough topic, but it is nice, like you said at the very beginning, every year, it's like, okay, good, the number is ticking down and or at least it's not going up. It's very, good to hear. All right, moving on to our 2026-27 back to school plans.
Well, this time of year, everyone is pretty excited. I know that there's several parents I've talked to that are really excited. Maybe not so much some of the younger children, but no, it is a very exciting time in our school district, and as you can see, next week, things really hit a fever pace for our entire staff. The administrators, we're at fever pace today. We had our directors meeting, and it's a lot of heavy lifting right now, but we're really excited about putting so much of the planning that really started last winter into practice coming up here over the next few days. So you can see that next week we have our new teacher orientation at the beginning of next week. We have mentor training, we have all of our staff reporting to our buildings on August 19th, and then our all-staff PD day on August 20th. Our 4K through 8th grade meet and greet day and our freshman first day is going to be August 26th, and then the first day with busing will be August 27th. It's hard to believe, and there's a home football game a week from Thursday, a swimming meet a week from Saturday. It's just, the kids are already in the building. I was over at the high school today for a little bit this morning and just seeing all the students and staff that are already there. There is a lot of excitement, but there's a lot to do between now and then. Kevin and his team of Buildings and Grounds are really working hard to try to wrap up cleaning facilities, trying to do as much deep cleaning as possible with our very robust summer school program. That's a real challenge, especially at the high school and at River Heights, where those buildings are so busy all summer, but they do a great job. They've planned ahead, and they'll get that done. We also are wrapping up a roofing project at Wakanda Elementary School. I know Mrs. Schofield is looking forward to not hearing as much banging coming up, but having that roof set for another several decades is something that we're looking forward to. In terms of staffing, and I know Abe kind of asked the question during the monthly employment report, staffing is looking very good, but like any year, we do have some last minute challenges. Probably the most significant challenge was a teacher who was hired and ended up backing out after the fact. So we are looking at several options. We are going to have a good solution. We haven't quite arrived on it, but we are going to make sure that the needs of our students are met. We also have been tracking numbers very carefully. As you know, particularly with our kindergarten classes at Wakanda Elementary School. We have determined, and the board approved at the last board meeting, the ability to add another section of kindergarten. And Mrs. Schofield was interviewing a number of candidates. We're very impressed with the number of candidates that we had interviewed today. So we are planning to hire another kindergarten teacher and have a third section of kindergarten at Wakanda Elementary School coming up this fall. Other than that, the hourly employment situation, we're always looking for more paras, we're always looking for more substitutes. And Sam, is there anything you'd like to add in terms of what we need or what people can do if they are interested in working as a substitute?
Yeah, they can just call here, they can email me, I do have posting really about it on Facebook, and it is posted in WeCan as well. But if anybody is interested, just have them contact ASC and we will get them moving in the right direction and connected with the right people to get signed up. So absolutely, subs are definitely very much in need, and so if anybody is interested, we'd be happy to work them through that hiring process.
2 weeks from today is the annual meeting. The newsletter, Back to School newsletter has it included along with the school board write-up from the ad hoc committee. So we're hoping that we'll have some attendance there at the annual meeting, 6 o'clock, 2 weeks from today at the high school. Any questions at all about Back to School plans?
Just quickly regarding the annual meeting, we had originally been looking at a 5:30 start time for a special board meeting prior to that. Is that looking like 5:30 is good enough?
Yeah, I think 5:30 will still work.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
New staff and mentors, did you have a luncheon that you've been through in the past?
Yes.
I don't see that on the schedule.
The, under the items related to next meeting dates and board committees at the very end of the agenda, I know we have that listed in there again. We had it last time too, August 18th.
August 18th.
Yeah, and if you want to go, just let Jenny know and she'll make sure you're signed up. We'll make sure we have an extra lunch available.
So just to that end for all board members, and in particular new board members, there are two events that we're invited to. There is that new staff luncheon, August 18th at 11:30, and then the beginning of the all-staff PD day at the high school, August 20th, starting at 7:30. Board members have often been there to help distribute t-shirts, chat with staff, help give the tenure awards, and anybody's welcome to join that as well. Do you want RSVPs to Jenny for that?
It's helpful if we know who's coming. If anybody wants to hand out cards for walking poker on the track that morning too, I'm always looking for an assistant. But yeah, we'll have a great morning that August 20th. So yeah, I think
You rarely get board members taking you up on that.
No.
So maybe this is your year.
The t-shirts, I think, are what the board members, and I don't blame you, I think people enjoy that.
And it's air conditioned.
So August 18th at 11:30, and then August 20th between 7:30 and about 8:30.
Any other questions?
You and Sam alluded to the subs hiring. I'm curious, is there more pressure to find subs this year than previous years, or is it just get the standard attention every year? How are the numbers looking in terms of compared to the last few years?
We're actually waiting on a training right now, and so, about grooming, and so, we haven't done our full push yet to get substitutes in because we don't want them signing up, doing some training and then having to go back. We're hoping by the end of this week that we will have that in place, and then we will do kind of an all-call for substitutes. So it's a little hard to answer that question right now, but I believe that we will be very much on track with what we've had in previous years.
Yeah, it's quite frustrating. The Department of Public Construction notified school districts last spring that they were completing the training for the new grooming laws, and we still haven't received it. We have received the training put together by a private law firm, which would be sufficient, but we're really hoping, really across the state, everyone's hoping that this DPI approved training will be coming out by the end of this week.
So that's basically professional development that subs would have to do
Correct.
before being paid.
But to answer your question, Abe, generally our sub pool has been a little better in the last couple of years than it had been closer to the pandemic.
Can I just quick put in a plug too, we were talking about that, same incentives are in place for our substitute teachers. So after 30 assignments, there's a $10 per day bonus. And then substitute teachers also get free lunch with, on the days that they're subbing. So additional benefits that are still in place for subs.
So tell your friends. Any other questions or discussion on the back to school plans? All right. Then we will move on to a review of policy 251, exhibit 1, the administration or organizational chart.
Yes, the next several agenda items really are more just kind of updates for the board. The first one is just a matter of updating the organizational chart. It had not been updated since 2017. We added in the assistant building grounds director, the assistant school nutrition director, and I appreciate Jenny kind of making it more, what would you call it, contemporary? Anyway, so that's that. Any questions on that one?
Is this something the board will approve or?
No, there's no need for board approval of an exhibit like this. It's really just informational. But if anybody does take a look at it and you have questions or suggestions, please feel free to let us know.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know the athletic director on the new updated version is, as a district administrator? No, sorry, next level, principals and.
He reports to me. Several years ago, the athletic director reported to the high school principal. But when we made the change and had the activities director also be in charge of community education, I think it was 5 years ago, that's actually when that change was made.
So you just use the word activities director and here it's listed as athletic director.
You know, that's a good point, Dale. We should probably have that listed as activities director.
Yeah, I think to include all the co-curricular
Yes.
activities and because they are in charge of all the things like DECA and everything else, right?
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
And it is the actual name of the position, so.
Yeah. That's okay. And then also, the Board of Education, instead of it being represented by 3 little people emblems, maybe we'll use a different symbol. Maybe a collective board or if nothing else, 9 little people.
I personally am not concerned about the number of them.
Oh, I'm sure Jenny can handle it.
Maybe we could shrink the district administrator person a little bit too. Maybe cut off 10 pounds, Jenny.
I do appreciate the updated one.
I think that you should have, next, a little key that says each of the heads for, school board represent 3 people, so.
Okay. Times 3, little math. Any other questions? Any other suggestions for the organizational chart? Thank you.
All right, next we have a review of policy 823, regarding access to public records.
The only thing changed there you can see is just updating our board member who was elected last spring. Also updating the administrative roster to have it be current.
Any questions or discussion on policy 823? And then we have policy 527, the rule on acceptable use of district technology and electronic communication resources.
I appreciate Katie doing this. Basically, it was updating our acceptable use rules for both staff and students so that they are now aligned with the updated communication requirements based on Wisconsin's grooming laws. Is there anything else you want to point out, Katie?
No, it was for staff, I think I just added 2 lines to connect the 2 policies as well as, but pretty straightforward.
Any questions or discussion on the updates of that rule? All right. Then, we are reviewing revisions to policy 362 on acceptable internet and technology use.
Yep, same thing.
Okay. All right, any questions or discussion on that? Pretty easy, and these, so these last several policies that we reviewed since the org chart, these are ones that we will come back to vote on next time.
No, because those are just administrative rules.
Great.
So we're just notifying the board.
Wonderful. We'll make the action agenda go faster. All right, if there's no more discussion on policy 362, then we are on to reviewing items for our annual meeting.
So the board already approved posting the annual meeting budget and agenda, which Jenny took care of. Appreciate Eric's work getting it all put together. So again, this is just a reminder that the annual meeting is 2 weeks from today. The agenda is out for you, and basically just wanted to provide an opportunity for a reminder and answer any questions board members might have.
So any questions about the annual meeting agenda?
Rachel, I would like just to remind anybody listening that the annual meeting is still a very important part for our school district. It's a great opportunity to discuss the budget. Also have, an opportunity for electors to share their thoughts about the budget. However, really in the early 90s when revenue limits came into play, the powers and duties of the annual meeting were changed dramatically. The tax levy used to be set at the annual meeting, the budget used to get approved at the annual meeting. And while there still is a voter or elector vote, realistically it's the school board that now holds the power since the early 90s to approve both the budget and the tax levy. That'll happen at the end of October. So the other thing is we really don't know all the information that we need for our budget since so many of the certifications come out in October. The third Friday in September count doesn't happen until the third Friday in September. So really what we're going to show at the annual meeting 2 weeks from today are the best projections possible for how we're moving forward with our budget for the school year. But it's still a very informative opportunity for community members, and we certainly want to make sure everyone knows that they're invited.
Yeah, and it is a somewhat unique opportunity to have a more interactive meeting as well. So when folks can come with questions about the budget and we can engage in back and forth discussion there. Any questions or discussion regarding the annual meeting agenda? And again, that will be held at the high school in the tiered lecture hall. So don't come here on August 24th. Make sure you go to the high school for that meeting. All right, moving on, we have a scheduled update from the board ad hoc committee for school advocacy and communications. I'm told there's not a lot to update at this moment, but I thought I'd just give us a second if anyone has questions for the committee, wants to know anything, any committee members came up with something that they really want to say in the last 45 minutes.
I would just have the last meeting I had said I would work kind of a quarter ahead in content and outlines I've had some outlines and stuff, but nothing worthy of sharing the last couple weeks got away from me, but will happen.
I'm not concerned, I don't think you've passed it along, so. Does anyone have anything they want to ask? Go ahead, Amy.
My question is, are we gonna have like a doodle poll or something, a poll to figure out like what board members can go to those meetings in September?
I thought Jenny and Joe and Jenny were gonna take care of that.
Oh, okay.
Sending out the sign up sheet.
Okay, that's what I meant, the sign-up sheet, so that we can sign up, so that we don't have 9 board members at one session or something.
Yeah, Jenny's got it started. We'll get it out here
Okay,
relatively
okay.
soon.
All right. Not that it's, I need to be heard, I just was wondering that was in the process, so.
Thanks for working on that, Jenny. All right, any other questions or discussion regarding the ad hoc committee for school advocacy and communications? All right, you guys are off the hook. Finally, we've made it to items related to next meeting dates, board committees and reports. We discussed the back to school events at length earlier, so I'm not going to read them all. Again, we have our special board meeting at 5:30. at Menominee High School on August 24th, followed by our annual meeting at 6 p.m. The meet and greet day for students is August 26th, and first day of school is August 27th. The WASB Fall Regional Meeting for Region 4 is going to be held on Wednesday, September 30th at Florian Gardens in Eau Claire. You do need to register for that, so if anyone is planning to attend and has not yet registered, please do that with Jenny. There is also some things such as WASB has just released a new webinar series. Again, that's a similar thing. If you want to attend that, you can, well, if they're free, I think then it doesn't matter. But if that's something that you want to be registered for, you can work through Jenny on that. Any questions related to next meeting dates, board committees, and reports? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, let's stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.